Exclusive. Over 232 civil society organizations have issued a scathing rebuke of 8 governments: Australia, Canada, Denmark, Italy, the Netherlands, Norway, the United States, and the United Kingdom, for their demonstrable failure to prevent the utilization of aircraft in flagrant violation of international law. This condemnation comes as the devastating conflict in Gaza tragically surpasses 500 days. The meticulously crafted letter, delivered on Monday to the aforementioned government's ministers, highlights a disturbing pattern of inaction and complicity. The UK, specifically, finds itself entangled in a complex web of legal challenges. Existing arms licenses issued to Israel, encompassing crucial components for F-35 fighter jets, have sparked intense scrutiny and accusations of complicity in war crimes. This legal action mirrors similar proceedings in the US, the Netherlands, Denmark, Canada, and Australia, all grappling with the ethical implications of arms exports to Israel. While the UK government took the seemingly proactive step of suspending 30 out of 350 arms export licenses to Israel in September, citing a clear risk of their use in serious violations of international humanitarian law, this action remains deeply controversial. Notably, the suspension conspicuously exempted F-35 components. The government's justification hinges on the alleged impossibility of suspending these licenses without jeopardizing the global F-35 program, further asserting that the components are essential for broader international peace and security. This argument, however, is widely contested by critics who see it as a thinly veiled attempt to circumvent international legal obligations. The human cost of this protracted conflict is staggering. Over 48,000 lives have been tragically lost in Gaza, with independent research suggesting the actual death toll could be as much as 40% higher than official figures released by the Palestinian Health Ministry. The consequences extend far beyond the immediate loss of life. The majority of Gaza's population has been forcibly displaced from their homes, their lives irrevocably altered. The United Nations Satellite Center reports that a devastating 69% of Gaza's infrastructure lies in ruins, a testament to the relentless bombardment. The letter's authors sharply criticize the government's unwillingness to uphold their legal obligations, accusing them of employing a convenient loophole. The assertion that the global nature of the F-35 program renders targeted arms control impossible. This, the letter forcefully argues, renders the entire program fundamentally incompatible with international law. The fragile nature of the current temporary ceasefire further exacerbates concerns, underscoring the palpable risk of renewed violations in Gaza and the occupied West Bank. The letter's signatories, representing a collective voice of over 232 civil society organizations, demand immediate and decisive action to prevent the further use of aircraft. They urge the governments to prioritize the protection of civilian lives and the upholding of international legal norms over perceived strategic or economic interests. The continued inaction, they argue, amounts to tacit approval of grave human rights abuses and undermines the very fabric of international law. A UK government spokesperson offered a terse statement. In September, we suspended export licenses to Israel for items used in military operations. This statement, however, fails to address the core concerns raised in the letter, particularly regarding the exemption of F-35 components and the broader issue of governmental complicity in violations of international law. The international community awaits a more comprehensive and ethically sound response. The sheer scale of the humanitarian crisis and the ongoing violations necessitate a far more robust and decisive commitment to accountability and the prevention of. The prolonged suffering in Gaza demands more than mere platitudes. It demands concrete action to ensure compliance with international law and the protection of human life. The gravity of the situation demands a reevaluation of current policies and a significant shift towards upholding the principles of justice and human rights. The future of international law and the well-being of the Palestinian people hang precariously in the balance. The silence of these governments speaks volumes, and the continued suffering in Gaza serves as a stark reminder of the urgent need for meaningful and decisive action to prevent further violations of international law, and to hold accountable those responsible for the immense human cost of this protracted conflict. The implications of inaction are profound and far-reaching, impacting not only the immediate victims, but also the very foundations of international order and the credibility of international law itself. The collective voice of 232 civil society organizations demands a response that is both timely and proportionate to the gravity of the situation. Failure to act decisively will only serve to embolden those who disregard international law and perpetuate the cycle of violence and suffering.